We've had a lot of North American Tokusatsu physical releases in the last few years, but it feels a little dry this year. Let's talk about the current state of Tokusatsu physical media in North America.
It's morphin' time!
Special shout out to our channel members, including Infinity War-Torn, our Sound Squadron captain. You can join for as little as $1 a month down below to help support the channel, as well as get cool perks. Hit the join button to find out more details. Hello, this is Soundout here, and let's talk about Tokusatsu physical media and where we currently are at. Because like I said, it's been kind of a weird year. We've been doing like back-to-back releases on stuff, and everything kind of slowed down this year while other areas sort of ramped up. And so basically I'm going to do like a company-by-company breakdown of what they've released, what they've got planned next, are they still releasing? But of course we got to talk about like things that are dead. Sadly, Generation Kikaider is no more. They have closed up their Tokusatsu releasing business in Hawaii, so Kikaider Reboot was their last release. Also, the Kraken releasing imprint at Sentai Filmworks is dead, so Garo Makai Senki Collection 2 was the last release from them. Now, those have been a couple years, so that makes sense. And then there's the weird things like Shin Ultraman. We got the Cleopatra release for the US, but there is a Australian release that I've heard is pretty good, and an upcoming Canadian release from a company called Raven Banner that looks to be like the premium package, and that one's going to be a region-free disc, so hopefully that one's good, because this sure ain't. So on that, we're going to kind of take a look at the other major companies releasing stuff. There will be chapter times in the description in case you want to skip over some of them. But I'm going to go over each of them and just kind of show like where are we at now versus where we were, or, you know, kind of speculate on what they could do. Discotek's been kicking out a lot of cool stuff lately, but what's next? So first, let's talk about the most optimistic, Discotek Media. So far, they've given us Mega Beast Investigator Juspion, Space Sheriff Gavan, Cutie Honey the Live, Kamen Rider Black, and most recently, Kamen Rider Black RX. They do a phenomenal job, and I've reviewed their titles before. They do a ton of anime, so Tokusatsu is a little bit of a side thing for them, but they're definitely dedicated to the prospect. And what's really nice, they have said multiple series are in the works to be licensed and released by Discotek. They just take a little bit longer because most shows are 50 episodes, and almost none of them have pre-existing subtitles. So they kind of have to work on them a little bit longer than some of their anime titles that they can kind of tweak or clean up these subtitles that previously existed. But there is the Hurricane Palomar movie coming in 2024 from them, so they haven't left us without any announcements on the Tokusatsu front. I'm pretty confident Discotek's going to put some stuff out, and while it may be more Kamen Rider or more Metal Hero, they'll probably throw us some more curveballs. Cutie Honey the Live was not so much a curveball for them because they'd done previous Cutie Honey releases, but that was a curveball in general. And Hurricane Palomar is definitely a curveball. Again, not for Discotek because they did the previous Hurricane Palomar OVA, but still kind of a curveball that like nobody was asking for, but they still made it anyways. And that's kind of how Discotek goes. So I'm pretty confident they're going to keep doing stuff for the foreseeable future. We've really gotten a lot of Ultraman from Mill Creek, but it hasn't been updated as much lately. When was the last release for this? So Mill Creek has done a lot of really solid and affordable Ultraman sets. I mean, we've got Q, Man 7, Return of Ultraman, Ace, Taro, Leo, The Ultraman 80, along with Kids, Zearth, Tiga, Dyna, Gaia, Cosmos, Neos, Nexus, Max, Mabius, Spirit Ultra Brothers, Ultra 7X, the Mega Monster Battle, the Zero movies, the Zero Chronicle series, Neo Ultra Q, plus Ginga, X, Orb, Orb Origin, Jeed, and Rube. And they gave us Gridband, dubious subtitles aside, plus the Rise and Secrets of the Rise compilations, and now the Battle Kaiju series compilations. And that's kind of where we're at. They just released an Ultra 7 anthology set with 55 appearances of Ultra 7, and they are releasing a second Battle Kaiju series with Ultraman vs. Baltan in December. So Mill Creek's still making Ultraman, but they have kind of taken a break from new stuff. This is likely due to a new contract needing to be formed between Mill Creek and Tsuburaya, and whether or not that contract has been signed, I'm not exactly sure, but hopefully more releases come in the future like Taiga, Zet, Trigger, Decker, Blazar, and then go back and get some of the gaps we missed. You know, maybe some of the international show rights have come up. There's stuff for them to do, but we'll have to see what happens because until there's a new contract signed and there's more releases put out, it seems like it's just going to be compilations for a bit, which is fine, but it also doesn't give me much to review because they're just re-releases of stuff we already got. Though I will say, at least the Red King set had a really nice booklet and it had better resolution on some of the things included, so they aren't completely worthless. It's just, you know, kind of padding it out until we get something better. So Media Blasters has brought us a lot of great sort of lesser-known Toku films, but weren't they working on something else? So let's talk about the companies I'm a little bit more worried about. Media Blasters, for one. Media Blasters has put out on Blu-ray, I'm not including other DVDs, but Blu-ray-wise, they got the live-action Devilman, they got Zayram 2, a year later Zayram 1 came out, Hakaider, and Zebraman 1 and Zebraman 2, with Zebraman 2 being their last Toku release from what I can tell in 2022. Now Media Blasters had to go through a bit of a shakeup, because essentially their main platform of business, because it's cheap to license and easy to sell because they always know there's a market, is 18+ material. And then when Right Stuff was bought out by Crunchyroll Store, they banned 18+ material, so that means Media Blaster had to go make their own store to keep their business afloat. So it kind of slowed down a lot of their releases. Particularly one of the most high-profile things they got was the Kamen Rider films, Kamen Rider the First, Kamen Rider the Next, Shin Kamen Rider Prologue, Kamen Rider Zeto, and Kamen Rider J. All 5 were announced for Blu-ray release, originally as a box set, but as we've been hearing lately, it's going to be coming out still, but they're going to be individual releases and hopefully have news in early 2024. So it's nice to see that stuff is moving, but it also kind of sucks that the only information we get is from like secondhand. Somebody asked the guy that owns Media Blasters at a convention, but no news is worse than little news. I got that backwards, but you get the idea. There is stuff coming from Media Blasters. It's just going to be a little bit of a wait, but I think it'll be worth it because all 6 of these have been incredibly affordable, but also incredibly good releases, especially for stuff that's not even good like the live-action Devilman. Shout Factory has given us a lot of releases, but when was the last time we got one? All right, let's start with the easy one. Shout Factory's Rider releases. We got 01, then we got Kuga, then we got Ryuki. And Ryuki came out in February 2023. That's it, guys. There hasn't been anything since. There hasn't been a new streaming thing on Tokusatsu. There hasn't been a new release announced. There's hardly any rumors anymore. Those have dried up. What happened to the Kamen Rider releases from Shout? And I might have a theory. My theory is that Toei's asking too much. I have heard that confirmed by people that have worked in the industry, that Toei tends to ask a little too much for their shows. And with Rider being their golden goose egg of a franchise that they put out into the world that makes them the most money, they're probably charging too much, and they won't just sign a package deal for anything. So the question really becomes, did these sell? They sold well, because I mean, they chart topped on Amazon and stuff. You know, people sold them out, like 01 sold out in Shout Factory when it had that poster offer. Did they sell? I know they went on sale recently and people picked them up, but that's kind of how the Sentai DVDs worked. But did they sell well enough to justify the license cost? And did the streaming, the fact they were also streaming on Tubi with ads, did that help balance out the cost of the shows? Or did it not, and they trying to figure out a way forward? Because licensing from Toei, if your show doesn't sell and Toei's charged you a ton of money for it, that's not good for business. So I don't exactly know if we're going to see a 4th Shout Rider release, but I hope so. But discussion's been had about how Shout's Rider releases were a little bit cheaper than Discotek's Kamen Rider Black and RX, and maybe Discotek was like, hey, we need to charge a little bit more so that way our bottom line works out and the work we do is worth it. Whereas, there's really good work done on these sets, but it's not Discotek level, because Discotek's got that like free from corporate mentality, just put everything you can into the release kind of method, whereas these had to hit a budget at the end of the day. So yeah, I don't know. I hope Shout gets to do more, because I think they did do a good job, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Now on to the thing Shout's been doing for about 10 years now, because welcome to the reality where time marches forward and you can't stop it. They have released a lot of Sentai. We've got Five-Man, Jetman, Jew Ranger, Die Ranger, Kaku Ranger, O Ranger, Car Ranger, Mega Ranger, Ginga Man, Go-Go 5, Time Ranger, Gal Ranger, Hurricane Ranger, Abba Ranger, and Deca Ranger. Not necessarily released in that order. Except Deca Ranger was the most recent release. So now I made a video like a while back called The Sentai DVDs Are Dead and They're Not Coming Back, which at the time I believed it, and at the time I was wrong about some details that I was just guessing at, like Hasbro not being involved. Turns out Hasbro was involved with these releases, and they have to essentially be the middleman between Shout and Toei. And while Saban did that same job before, when Hasbro did it, because Hasbro is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that has all these people and money being thrown around, they may not be returning Shout's emails quickly. We've heard from the DVD producer for the Sentai DVDs, Brian Ward, on Twitter. Someone asked, and he said that it just takes longer for approvals now. Would that explain why we haven't seen a Sentai release since February 2023? What's interesting is that shortly after I made that video of like Sentai DVDs are dead, they announced 5-Man, and then Aba Ranger, and then Deca Ranger pretty close together. The last announcement, which Deca Ranger and Ryuki were announced about the same time, was December 2022. So like literally a year ago. So what's interesting with 5-Man, Aba Ranger, and Deca Ranger was they're originally Shout exclusive. They're not streaming on Tokusatsu, and then they got wide releases later. So technically, while this was first released in February 2023, its actual last release was July of 2023, because after they released Deca Ranger, they went and did individual retail releases for 5-Man, Aba Ranger, and Deca Ranger. So the thing is that technically we are not that far removed from the last Sentai release, only about 4 months, if you take it in the overall sense. Yeah, we haven't heard of a new show in a year, but we've actually only been 4 months since the last release. And so that means we're not as far off as, you know, Kamen Rider, where we're sitting at, what, like 10 months later? Is the Sentai DVD initiative dead? Probably not. They clearly are still selling. You know, they put out 5-Man and Aba Ranger back-to-back. That felt like maybe they had those ready. Deca Ranger's subtitle formatting was a little different. If this was one of the ones that was already previously ready before the Hasbro Power Rangers purchase, maybe that was part of why this one came out, and then we're having to wait for more. I'm not exactly sure, because there's a lot of behind-the-scenes, back-and-forth emails, you know, meetings, people got to do this and that. And how much is a priority to Hasbro or to even Toei for the North American market to get Super Sentai on DVD? Sure, it's a big deal for Shout. They clearly sell. They've made a ton of them. Is it a big deal to Toei, even? Is it a big deal to Hasbro? It's not Toei's golden child, Kamen Rider, so I don't think the licensing fees are as bad on Sentai, but they could be. It's entirely possible. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but it does sound like the communication chain of Shout to Hasbro to Toei has slowed down enough that, you know, we've been 4 months since the last release, and that release was a re-release from a release 5 months prior. So where are we at with Power Rangers? Shout, you know, famously put out this giant Red Ranger helmet as like one of their earliest Power Rangers releases, which contained all the seasons up through Megaforce, which was really, really cool. I don't know why I'm showing this off, besides the fact that I'm like, look, it's gigantic and it's kind of fun because it's got 20 seasons of the show back here. You know, it's just kind of a neat thing. But of course, Shout released all of those individually, as well as some box sets, but those are starting to go out of print with only really Mighty Morphin sticking around. And then Shout also had done Blu-rays for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie and Turbo Power Rangers movie, which just were announced to be going out of print in December 2023, so hopefully, if you haven't heard that news and you haven't picked these up yet, you're hearing this in time to get them, because they're going to be gone soon. And that's likely due to the expiring Fox license for these films. So that's kind of where Shout's been. They released 17 seasons individually, Mighty Morphin through RPM, these 2 movies on Blu-ray, and they only got to release Samurai through Megaforce through that giant helmet set. Now, Lionsgate did do the newer seasons per the Weird Saban contract, so they did Samurai and Super Samurai. They even gave Super Samurai a Blu-ray, though it was missing the holiday specials, and because it came out before Samurai, not many people bought this, and they used that as an excuse to not make Power Ranger Blu-rays again. This was a great set outside of the missing episodes thing, and it was weird. It came out before the show actually hit Netflix or the finished Nick. Super Samurai was weird. And so, of course, they went on to do the future seasons. They did Megaforce, they did Super Megaforce, they did Dino Charge, they did Dino Supercharge, Ninja Steel, Super Ninja Steel, and then, of course, the 2017 movie, which got a Blu-ray release as well. The interesting part here is the fact that you may notice that nothing since Super Ninja Steel has come out. Nothing since the 2017 movie from Lionsgate. While some of those releases you can still find, I believe all of the Lionsgate releases are out of print now, except for maybe the 2017 movie, because they have a little bit more ownership over that. So what happened to Beast Morphers, Dino Fury, Cosmic Fury, Once and Always? Any of those ever coming out? Who knows? The most recent Power Rangers release was those Shout movie Blu-rays, and those are going away now. So what is up with Power Rangers? You know, like, is it a Power Ranger problem, or is it a Hasbro problem, or is it a mixture of the two? If you look at another popular Hasbro property, Transformers, that hasn't had a TV show released in a while. They had Transformers Robots in Disguise 2015 Season 1, none of the rest of the seasons. Nothing for Cyberverse. The Prime Wars trilogy, I think Combiner Wars was included on a Target bonus disc with Transformers The Last Night, and that was it. Then the Netflix series hasn't gotten anything, but Earthspark started getting DVDs, probably because it's co-owned by Paramount and Nickelodeon, who do like to put stuff out on physical media. So, you know, Power Rangers is in a weird spot. I don't know if we'll ever see those other seasons. I'd like that to be the case because I have a giant helmet that, you know, has some supplementary material that, you know, I'd like to finish out the set. But, yeah, it's kind of strange, and maybe they're waiting until the next Power Rangers thing comes to fruition to kind of like media blitz it. You know, maybe there's some exclusivity with Netflix, but you think at least by now we would have seen Beast Morphers, which leads me to wonder if it's a larger point with Hasbro purchasing Entertainment One and that becoming their new media business before selling Entertainment One and just reabsorbing it back into Hasbro Media. Corporate business will never make sense to me. But at the end of the day, we kind of sit here wondering, why are we missing 5 seasons in a special for Power Rangers? And also, why do I have zero confidence we ever will see them? That's the unfortunate part, because ever since the Hasbro purchase, we have not seen a Power Rangers physical media release outside of Shout sub-licensing Fox's movies. And that's it. You know, like, I don't know what else to say. It was kind of a weird thing. I really wish Saban would have had everything at Shout, because Lionsgate kind of botched the Samurai Onward releases. It would have been much more consistent and nice, and it's a shame that that never came to happen. Haim Saban was a weird business maker. But at the end of the day, I don't really know what else to say besides, you know, it kind of sucks being a Power Rangers fan that, you know, you may have all the seasons, but you'll never have all the seasons. Oh, and I almost forgot, the Dino Supercharge, I have the volume release here, the combined release even, missing the 2 holiday specials. Those have never been released on disc in North America, which is kind of dumb, because it means, you know, I can't even say I have every Power Rangers episode up through Super Ninja Steel, because missing 2 from this one. So, yeah, maybe in the future, if, you know, Hasbro decides to jump on kind of like the physical media reboom that's happening at the moment, maybe they'll get another company, or maybe they'll get Shout and say, hey, Shout, now you can release everything, and we could see Samurai through Cosmic Fury on Blu-ray. Because honestly, like, you know, getting the modern Power Rangers shows on DVD isn't horrible. You know, they still look good, and it's still a good way to watch it on a physical disc. But these are HD produced shows, and it wouldn't cost anything to, you know, there's no remaster process. You just put them on a Blu-ray. And so if, you know, Shout could get a deal, or somebody else could get a deal with Hasbro and do Blu-rays for Samurai Onward, that'd be pretty great. I think that'd be great. I would gladly, you know, even though I don't like the Neo Saban seasons that much, I would gladly rebuy them in Blu-ray, because I feel like that's how they should have been the entire time. But, you know, that's just me, just kind of wishful thinking at this point. It does seem very clear from everything we've seen currently that there is just no plans to release the other Power Rangers seasons on disc, but maybe one day they will. I'll keep dreaming for that day. So that's pretty much it. That's the current state of physical media in North America for Tokusatsu. There's still stuff coming. Discotek's working on stuff. That Media Blasters Kamen Rider movie deal will probably start happening. And, you know, Mill Creek's probably going to come out with some more compilations before they do new stuff, but I think they're going to get to the new stuff. Shout Factory's in a bit of a maybe, and hopefully nothing like the Shin Ultraman Cleopatra Entertainment release comes out, because that was really rough for everybody, wasn't it? Especially me, because I had to review it. But we do have Raven Banner Shin Ultraman to look forward to. So there are releases coming. There is more stuff to look forward to in the future, but I actually don't think there's any more to cover this year. I think this is probably like my last Tokusatsu home video for the year, because there's really nothing else coming out. Raven Banner says their Shin Ultraman is shipping at the end of December, so I probably can't review it till January, and so we'll just have to, you know, sit around here and wait. But as we wait, of course, I do have other videos on the channel. This isn't the only thing I do. I have other videos on Blu-rays, DVDs, that kind of cool stuff, and of course, toys and all kinds of other little things here and there. So you want to hit subscribe and the notification bell. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button. Leave your own theories about what shows are being licensed, what's going on with Hasbro and Sentai, or what's going on with Toei and Rider. Like, leave your thoughts down below as well. If you'd love to help support the channel directly, Consider joining as a channel member for as low as $1 a month. There are cool perks and details in the join button below. You can check out my live streams here on this channel Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern, where I'll talk about any Tokusatsu home video news in those live streams. Also be sure to check out the Discord in the link below, because we talk about Blu-rays there as well. You can also find me on social media if you'd like at Soundout12. You can find my awesome graphic designer on social media and on Discord at DarkClaw643. And you can find Hero Club at hero-club.com for Tokusatsu interviews, news, and more. Until next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.